You're slipping away from me, and you're so afraid that I'll plead with you to stay. But I'm gonna be strong and let you go your way. Love has gone. There's no sense in holding on. And your pity now will be more than I could bear. But I'm gonna be strong. I'll pretend I don't care. I'm gonna be strong and stand as tall as I can. I'm gonna be strong, let you go alone and take it like a man. When you say it's the end, I hand you a line. I smile and say, don't you worry, it's fine. But darling, you'll never know how the you kiss me goodbye. How I'll break down and cry. I peered at them through the keyhole. Those banner-waving, flag-flying fighters of free love, calling for their liberation, untethered desperation for equality, all masked behind and held within the glee of a ticker-tape parade. Naked chest, glitter vests and pups on leashes to degrade. The queens in slap and wigs with cock-strapped backs staggering on stilt-like heels, holding hands and salivating into the open mouth of a stranger, twirling to the thumping of the DJ's blasting beat, grinding, dry humping until the juices drizzle down to your feet. I was disgusted, full of loathing for every time you nonchalantly dusted your rainbow down the spine of yet another man. I peered at them, all through the keyhole of my closet. They spoke to me through the closed door. Those know-it-all queers, been there, done that generation, walked through stages of coming out, a lifelong journey about self-discovery. Knew the torments, they said, comparing myself to the man in my head, the one they would tolerate. I'd gain acceptance instead. That's the man I wanted to be, not some cocksucker destined to kneel. Holding hands with another man turned my stomach like the smell of diesel. Avoiding the crashing of the violent pummel, ducking the thrashing, hiding my light in the dark of the tunnel. They were disgusted, filled with despair for every word I nonchalantly trusted would distance my heart from my mind for one more day. They all spoke to me through the closed door of my closet. That was the start of my becoming. I couldn't handle it, their certainty of the future, the way I had to behave and the steps I needed to take. At first, it seemed like death, the Kubler-Ross stages of grief. They were the steps best suited, that fitted the life of a fake. 1. Denial. Nobody around me felt this way. So how could I have ended up as one of them? Nobody enlightened me to this life. It's a choice I had to make, to only fall in love through society's rightful plan. I must have been troubled or needed medical help. If God existed even in his sickest moments, he wouldn't dream of laying man with man. So I was the only one, or at least the first in this god-awful town. I kept them locked away, my sensations, my fantasies, my tears and fear. Better to be trapped in lavender than be shunned with each passing year. 2. Anger. Those fucking faggots made me feel this way. Dragged me down to the level of a promiscuous whore just like them. I would rather have died than live some sadistic life. Hated the pain, the twisting in my guts as time trotted out its own little plan. Wanted to kick, wanted to scream with fury, yet knowing I didn't want help. I was meant to fix it all, to do what I could, to stand up and take punishment like a man. Flames of desire burned red hot in my eyes as I walked through this town, thinking, drowning in the runnels formed by the distress of my fear, trapped by a feeling that lingered from year to year. 3. Bargaining. I used my cunning and found a way to indulge my lust and walk in public without an eyebrow raised from them. I'd pick a woman, she'd do, with the blonde hair, and share my life. Parts of my sordid little being, even the bits I love, still don't quite fit the plan. Perhaps I thought I'd find a dyke who struggled too, and mutually we'd help. Disguise what appeared to be such hated ways, so she'd look like she had a mate, and I'd have my man. Let us get away with it, I prayed. Yes, I sure as hell prayed to escape my cage, this town. If that didn't work, I'd find some dumb bitch. She'd deflect the eyes from sensing my fear. Guess what? Those plans didn't work, and I plunged hard into another year. 4. Depression. The glinting blade was calling out as the only way to stop myself from hurting, and me from hurting them. It was how to regain control of a spiraling life. Cut out the skin and cut out the food seemed a sensible plan. Emaciating all my thoughts, I fought against the caring hand that stretched out to help. After all, I was supposed to be the man. I knew I couldn't run away. The hurt would sit in my suitcase as I would travel from town to town. That was my fear. The approaching unknown of what lay ahead in the coming year. 5. Acceptance. Don't go anywhere. Stick with me as I get this out of the way. I thought their approval would come overnight. I was actually doing it for them, as if it was their life, their plan. I truly thought that this was the journey and it was over. Fuck, I needed help. Fuck. I needed to stand and be proud, arm in arm with a guy, a bloke, a man. Didn't quite reach acceptance. No shit. But my eyes opened to the reality of the town. Acceptance. Still afraid. Still overwhelmed by fear. Acceptance. Maybe I only needed to wait one more year. My becoming had barely started. Kubler-Ross didn't work. I thought I was losing someone. The someone that everyone told me I was supposed to be. I found 6 new stages, therefore financial consciousness. I thought back then that they might just bend enough to work for me. 1. The fog. It was as if everything was rushing by me, but time was standing still, unable to see the future that was within my own grasp, oblivious to my destiny, desperately searching for some control, the form I'm longing to hold without the guilt and shame. 2. The awakening. Geography teacher was twittering while the thumping of my heart stood still, as Steve, dark-haired, porcelain-faced, brushed his fingers accidentally across my hand, knowing it was a moment to grasp. That was the moment, the exact moment I saw my destiny. My synapses fed with thoughts outside of my mind's control. Shaking, I brushed my fingers bone bare and translucent against Steve's, but he drew back like a child from a monster. And I saw his shame. 3. The shift. The shame began to melt in the arms of Josh, another dark-haired danger. The parts of my dread at 36 are frozen still. The tiny impressions made gingerly in the mud carried me through to a life within my grasp. But was this really my truth? Or was it a phase? Was it my destiny? Overthought, overwrought, like changing the channel without a control. If the leap wasn't made, I might have mired in the shame. 4. The battle. I took a wrong turn down drug and destruction road. Hungered emotions that haunt me still. The quaking and creaking, the shaking and pleading to escape the dealer's grasp. Some sickening junkie unseemly laid out in the looking glass, unable to even dribble. My new destiny. Pulled back from the brink mostly, and took decisive steps, as much as I could, and regained the control. Fuck all of those demons that encircled my brain and filled my thoughts with bitterness, pain, shame. 5. The rise. Risen through the pyramid of consciousness. And I'll carry on rising. Too scared to stand still. Fought, flounced, flaunted and flirted with anyone in my grasp. Distraction. Avoided the knowledge of my destiny. Too uptight to let others have the strings of control. This puppet became a real queer boy and handed you back his shame. 6. The enlightenment. The shame was inevitably returned to me. I'm learning to manage it still. Bang, just like that, flash of light bulb on. Scott and Josh were only half of the treats in my grasp. You see, Josh had a sister named Catherine who was an eye-opening twist and turn, up and down, in and out, roller coaster ride in my destiny. All of the structure just tumbled. I lost all control, but I started to think with my heart and my soul, and not stutter my feelings behind a tower of shame. That was the twist of my becoming. I peered then from the threshold. Those banner-waving, flag-flying fighters of free love. I yearned for that liberation, unfettered aspiration for equality. All glammed up with somewhere to go, I opened the door to my first pride. Hush up, don't tell mama. I head out to see what's inside. Their sequin-smothered flesh and their uneasy show of ease stung my eyes, screaming that it's fine to be accepted for one day and the next ignored. Pupils growing wider from the pills shoved down my throat, followed my guider to the Portaloo. No time for a raincoat. We were disgusting. Fucked this leader like a man possessed, nonchalantly busted the lock on the door and didn't care who could see. I peered at them all from the threshold of conforming. They watched the door closing once more. Those know-it-all queers, been there, done that generation, walked over my naivety with spikes on their Louboutin, kicked me to the curb. The helping hand. Deceptive magician's trick, arm during cliffhanger. Footprints they'd left were concealed, and it filled me with anger. Those imprints are not fully exposed. The mistakes repeat and congeal, like washing my hands after touching a man, to remove the stain, destroying the painful facade of reality, healing the blameful cradle of promiscuous profanity. I was disgusted, packed with revulsion for every man that nonchalantly rusted in my arms like a coiled spring with no bounce. They watched the door closing once more for not conforming. That's when my becoming retreated. I followed the stages. Look at where they've taken me now. I'm a beautiful, broken fucking mess, somehow surviving. Between the sheets and arms, the legs I have parted for succor, still attempting to enliven that part that needs reviving. One, surviving. So odd that I spent so long merely trying to survive another day, to tolerate myself, to endure the ignominy that existed. It lived in my head. All I did was love, whether that was for an hour, a day, or lingering long, building a lie in which I could live, a place where they could do no harm. Two, conforming. That look, the face they made, crumple and askew by 11 a.m. each day. Expressions of confusion, not understanding my life. How could they? I didn't understand myself. Now I try to banish those pernicious thoughts from inside my head, to be able to fit in, to adjust my presentation from the short term to the long. It's no way to live, overpowering, showering me with harm. Three, differentiating. Decided to stand out, to make an impression, a desire to use the fire burning within to be recognized every day, to put on a show full of twinkling lights just to confront myself, using the beam of my dreams to dazzle from the tips of my toes to the top of my head. I'll keep this up, this fantastical farce, but I don't know for how long. Strong enough to pretend. Is this any way to live? A smokescreen to protect unnoticed. A dizzying helter-skelter to shelter me from harm. 4, individuating. Shaking the shackles of subjugated shame that lynch me 24 hours a day. You do you, I'll do me. I can only be myself. I can't be what you expected, can't be what I'm not. Take those tiny trapping thoughts from your head, throw them far from your mind, far and long. I am starting to live, escaping harm. 5, self-actualizing. I know what I have to do. The scrambled wires have untied. There's a roadmap for the day. Yes, I'm shouting out loud and proud. I can't keep it in. Can't keep it to myself. It's the only way to stop the din of dread dancing in my head. I'm almost there. It won't be long. Time to be free, time to be me, time for me to live. Break the chains of trepidation, create a navigation away from desperation and harm. 6. Integrating. Okay, you dancing diva, you disco queen, you attention-stealing man. The time has come to cool down. Now is the day. Pulled myself together and found togetherness with myself. Many people relate to the scattergun in my head. I can't be the only one. The sole survivor staring at a picture of the girl who got away and dreaming of some dreamboat boy. It's been wrong for so long. She understood my quirks and chinks, the way that I was born to live. He understood my sleeping quiver, restored the calm in the midst of harm. 7. Serving. Damn all the pressure, it's time to seize the day. To thine own self be true. Me, I, myself. Share my learned life experience, my lifelong evaluation, my loves and loss from fucked up mind to rational head. Share my gifts, yeah, I know it, I've got some. All day long. To comfort, help, and divulge all of me. Give to give. Give to help someone live. Heal myself with revealing. Break through the straitened ceiling. Speak my mind and stand in front of harm. Now is the time for my becoming. I sing I Will Survive at night. That anthem for all the dejected, rejected queers, cliched enticements of defiance and survival speak to me when no one hears. All masked behind the security of the walls of the great indoors. When I'm alone, rocking out, vibrations pounding the floors. This greedy old boy, this bisexual lush who leads himself away, revels in the bubble of holding the judges and naysayers at bay, slamming the door shutting temptations out in the cold, starting the cutting of people from my life won't do what I'm told. I'm filled with disgust, full of despair every time I nonchalantly muster the strength to turn and face the mirror on the wall. I sing I will survive at night to my reflection. So that's it. Well, that's some of it. Some of the journey. Some steps on the road to becoming. Do I wish things were different? Ask me tomorrow. Do I wish I could change? Ask me tomorrow. Have I had fun? So much fun. From the electric pleasure of their bodies against mine, to that time that in a kiss we shared wine, that I had hard times of deterioration, snorting their lines, injecting their lies. This bisexual little bitch is doing just fine, counting the notches on my bedpost just to pass the time. Where's the crime? Is loving yourself on Friday night a crime? No. Is hating yourself the morning after a crime? I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine. Truly. It's all a part of my becoming. As I stare into the mirror with thoughts of all the loves, conquests, disappointments, and hurts, I feel every hair that brushed my cheek, every lipstick stain, every stabbing pain. Her hands, his grip, her eyes, his lips, her warmth, his love, her charm, his shove, her legs, his scrunch, her hate, his punch. It's all a part of my becoming. And yet, I'm still singing I Will Survive to my reflection.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never leave without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along. And so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that lock, should have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Go on now, go, walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live, got all my love to give. I'll survive, I will survive. It took all the strength I had not to fall apart. Kept trying hard to mend the pieces of my broken heart. And I spent so many nights just feeling sorry for myself. I used to cry, but now I hold my head up high. And you see me, somebody new. I'm not that chained up little person, I'm still in love with you. And so you felt like dropping in, and you expect me to be free. Well, now I'm saving all my loving for someone who's loving me. Go on now, go, walk out the door. Turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live, I got all my love to give, and I'll survive, I will survive.